Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, the Senate has been back in session for one day in the United States Senate. You know, of course, that is the cue for all the gun control arguments. All the pressure on the Senate to adopt the assault weapons ban of 2022 must begin right on cue, right on time, and let's get into it because, of course, as we've always discussed, nothing is on accident, everything is orchestrated, and we are going to dive into this. Everything is linked in the description box below, but I want to show you today how the propaganda is putting pressure on the Senate to adopt an assault weapons ban of 2022. The filibuster is still in place, so this is going to get interesting, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of this. As I said, everything is linked right down there in the description box. But we're going to dive into an article today out of all places from Teen Vogue. So the propaganda is starting young on this fine Thursday, and we've got some debunking to do, so let's dive in. The 2022 assault weapons ban could help solve the gun violence epidemic. No, it can't. You and I both know that, but listen to the propaganda that they're actually using, because to a young teenager or a young adult, this is actually enticing propaganda. It's not information, it's propaganda. But let's keep going because we got to dispel it. We've done our part, but our generation cannot be the sole purveyor of hope in our country. Trust me, it's not. March for Our Lives has clearly outlined a plan to reimagine public safety on a national, state, and community levels. Notice that cue phrase, reimagine public safety? That's exactly what the Democrats were using when they were talking about defunding the police. Now Biden comes out and says we've got to fund the police. It's almost like there's a little bit of a disconnect. But that's not the point of this video. Let's continue. Amid a haze of thoughts and prayers, we worked hard to help pass the first bipartisan gun safety legislation in 3 decades. Talking about the Senate bipartisan deal for the funding for red flag laws nationwide. The previous bill, passed in 1994, expired 10 years later, before the two of us had even reached the 3rd grade. These are young writers. They must be intelligent. They must know what's going on. Listen to the propaganda that they are spewing. This is insane. In the meantime, the gun violence epidemic has only metastasized. Today, guns are the leading cause of death in American children. It's good. No, it's not. Complete lie, full stop. That is based off of a study which includes 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-olds that also include criminal activity and behavior. The gun death for children shoots upward from 18, 19, 20 to 21, and it goes off the charts, and that's what they're including as children. Okay? The president cites the statistic. Gun controllers cite the statistic. The study itself is completely flawed, and the conclusions are not correct. But we've talked about that. Let's keep going. As of August 31, there have been over 450 mass shootings in the United States in 2022, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Do you guys remember 450 mass shootings in the United States? No, you don't. Because that is a fictitious number that is made up by a partisan group called the Gun Violence Archive that is funded and started by Slate magazine, a far-left magazine in the United States. This entire data point that the media keeps on spewing is a propaganda piece put up by Gun Violence Archive, which is funded by far-left billionaires. This is a complete fabrication and propaganda tool. But let's keep going. I just had to say it. One of the solutions to this problem, to decades of Americans dying in vain, is sitting on a desk in the United States Senate right now. The 2022 assault weapons ban, which has already been passed by the House of Representatives, would make it illegal to sell, manufacture, transfer, possess, or import semi-automatic assault weapons bans. Now, what are the odds that the first day the Senate is back in session, all of this stuff starts like a barrage of pressure? We were pretty much quiet for about 3 to 4 weeks. Isn't that interesting? There are no accidents. There are no coincidences. Let's keep going because I got a few more propaganda pieces I've got to share with you. We know, and so does Congress, that this kind of legislation works. It flat out does not, and listen to what they say here. Analysis from The Conversation estimates that under the 1994 ban, the risk of dying in a mass shooting was 70% lower. So not dying in a mass shooting was 70% lower, the risk of dying. That is a subjective figure put out as a fact. That is malpractice. You cannot say that is actual factual, but it doesn't matter because this is all about their feelings and not about facts. For 18 years, our elected officials have had the option to resurrect the ban. Instead, they've chosen to protect the gun lobby over children. Ooh, little spicy talking point, and we're getting to the point where they're coming for the call of action. Listen to this. It's time for senators to switch their allegiance It's time for them to find the courage to fulfill their duty, to overcome their long-standing complacency and protect Americans instead of the gun lobby. Gun violence is not limited to mass shootings. It's a public health crisis. This part, you guys tell me down in the comments what you think about this part. At least 59 people were fatally shot during the month of August in Chicago, just miles from Highland Park, according to a database maintained by the Chicago Sun-Times. In 2020, over half of all gun deaths in the U.S. were suicides, and 2/3 of American women murdered by an intimate partner are killed by a gun, which is interesting because they got the boyfriend loophole passed already, so what's the deal? Why is it still happening? But they're referencing a point of not just mass shootings. Chicago is also awash with violence. Side note, Chicago is a complete gun control city, but they don't talk about that. Specifically, since most of the violence in Chicago is done with handguns. But again, they don't talk about that because facts interrupt their feelings. We can't have that. We got to keep going on our little crusade. Okay, so here's where it wraps, and this part. Ugh. An assault weapons ban wouldn't eliminate handguns, rifles, shotguns, ghost guns, or the many other types of firearms available to purchase in the United States. And this ban won't magically eradicate gun violence, but it would reduce the number of Americans murdered with assault weapons each year. So, as you've noted, again, another fact drop, the amount of people killed with firearms in the United States is about half suicides and half homicides or accidents, okay? Rifles constitute less than hands, fists, knives, and blunt objects. According to the last statistics by the FBI, less than 500 deaths per year were done with a rifle, and of that 500, even less were done with an assault rifle. So the assault weapons ban that they're touting here would literally do nothing. They even say in the article, this won't do anything, but it's something that we have to do to continue to march for our rights, all right? By passing this ban, perhaps we can get one step closer to that imagined world, when a hometown can simply be a hometown, not another headline of grief. And here comes the call to action to the youth. Make your voice heard in this year's midterm elections. Not sure if you registered to vote? Click here to register or check your voter registration status. And just like that, they have interwoven voting and registration with their gun control, the assault weapons ban bill, and there we go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments field below, and I'll see you tonight at the 9 p.m. segment. I'm Braden. See you later.